Okay, let's go ahead and talk about banana plants for a second so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay, so I have a banana plant that's bearing fruit, and I'm holding it up with a tripod right here. That way it doesn't, the weight of bananas when they get bigger don't fold over. If you notice, this is a young, it's not even a year-old plant. A lot of people say that less than a year-old or 2-year-old banana plant, you're not really going to have bananas, but here you go, here are some bananas. So let me tell you how I did that. Well, it starts out with the soil. When I planted those, I dug a couple foot square hole, and I put in chips, and I put in 100% horse manure mixed in with 100% sheep manure. Then my plant grew, and it produced bananas really quick. Well, that plant produced a pup, which is now tall, and that one there, he got tall. There's a bunch of pups coming up. So far, out of this plant here, I got probably 13 pups, and there's more to take out, but I'm not going to take them out with the fruit on there. Same thing over here, same thing over there. A lot of those pups over there were taken from these over here. Now to get your banana plant to grow like that, if you notice, I cut off the leaves. When the leaves grow, when there's 5 or more on there, like right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'll come over and I'll cut that off so there's 4, and then the plant knows to grow a little taller and a little thicker. Same thing there, and if you look, I did it with this one here. I cut all those off. Looks like a woodpecker's been in there, but I cut all those off, and just before it bared fruit, I only had 1, 2, 3 leaves on there. There's only 2 on there now, and it's still, I was told it cannot bear fruit unless there's 5 on there. But as you can see, it's different. So now these pups over here, what I do, and there's a bunch here. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and probably more coming in. The ones that are attached to the one that's having bananas over here, I'm not going to touch. But this one I want to take out. But in taking it out, I'm going to have to disturb this. So I'm waiting for this to get a little bigger. And then I'll go ahead and transplant it. Same thing over here. Got a pup, and got a pup. This one and that one's big enough to take out, but this one's not. So I'm going to let it get a little bit bigger. This one's big enough. Now I got 1, 2 pups over here, so I'm going to wait for that to get a little bigger. And then I'll go ahead and separate those, and I'll do another video on that. Now going over here, now these are some small ones that I planted from pups that were that small, and as you can see, they're growing nicely, and you can kind of see that I'm trimming off as they're growing, and I'm chopping and dropping them over the base, and they're doing nicely all the way around. So you can kind of see what these look like. They're all planted 2 foot or 2.5 foot down, and then 3 foot around. They're all got horse manure and sheep manure in them, and they all got a thick layer of compost and chips on top to hold the moisture in, and as you can see, they love it. So the key in growing banana plants is good compost, good manure. I dug out this pond so I could plant a lot of banana trees around the pond because they like being in the vicinity of a lot of water. because a banana plant is, I don't know what is it, it's almost 100% water, probably 90%. I don't know the exact figure, but if you cut into any of these right here, it's all water. And some of them, if you squeeze them, like right here, if you break this off, that's water in there. If you squeeze it, water comes out. It's made up of water. But there's a lot of chips here piled up. It's a couple, probably a foot high right now, and I keep adding more on. Another thing about banana plant, and I'm putting Mexican sunflower here, and I'm putting their own leaves here, but you could pile it up 2 or 3 feet up and give it a lot of mulch. It doesn't matter. In the wintertime, when you go to get a freeze, if you pile the mulch up all the way up 2 to 3 feet, as high as you could go without covering the plant, that mulch will keep your banana plants from freezing. So anytime there's a good freeze coming and you're going to get a good frost for multiple days, your whole banana plant could die back. But you don't want it to die back, and you don't want the roots to die, because that's the whole plant right there. So if you cover it with a good thick layer of mulch, it will keep the base of it, or the roots of it, from freezing, and you're not going to lose any of your banana plants. Now another thing is, when a banana plant has bananas, after you harvest the bananas, a lot of people say cut the plant down. Well, that's kind of true to a point, but I do things a little different. I'll go ahead and cut the plant down, but I'll separate and dig that base out of the ground, and I'll do a video on this. And I lay it down, and then I'll cut it about 6 inches long, and then I'll cut it into 8 pieces, lay it on its side, wedge out the core, and I could turn one base like this into about 50 to 75 other banana plants. Now I know that sounds like it's hard to imagine, but when you take that root out and you trim it, you quarter it up into 8 sections and turn it on its side and cut out the center and the way that you plant it, you'll get 5 and 6 growing out of each side of it. Then you could go ahead and separate those pups if you're trying to multiply your banana plants. So anyway, after I harvest, I'll go ahead and do a video on that. I should have done it last time, but there's no time like the present, so I'll go ahead and take care of that. So, and then post it. So anyway, that's how you go ahead and plant and take care of your banana plants. And they like drinking a lot of water, so make sure they're watered real good. In my case, they got the pond there, so they're getting a lot of water. But also you got to fertilize real good. So not only do I take Mexican sunflower and comfrey from over there and chop and drop it, I take liquid fertilizer from my well. I made Mexican sunflower and comfrey Balkan 14 liquid fertilizer, and then I pour it around the plants, and I'm getting ready to do some this morning, and that fertilizes your plants. And between the fertilizer and the compost and the mulch and the water, you're going to have some nice, healthy, and happy banana plants. Okay, that kind of wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed.